Bitcoin has pulled back a little bit here. Signals still remain bullish. So I think we're going to get this completion of a wave 5 in this first minor wave. I think you get the pullback, but the momentum has remained bullish. Bars here flipped with the breakout of the trend. Very, very nice signals. The signals did a very good job of marking the bottom, and then the shift in momentum here, the shift in the trend right here, and we saw the ribbon turn back to green. We saw the line turn back to blue, and we saw the cloud turn back to green. Beautiful signals here. Again, at some point we're going to get a pullback, but I don't think minor wave 1 is done. Saw the reversal at the December top, couldn't flip things around. Things were bearish all the way down and then turned back to bullish here. Absolutely incredible signals. Because I have good indicators. Got a warning signal of a short-term top here. We did get it. I mean, we've gone sideways. We've had this pullback. I still think we're in positive territory here. I still think you're going to see a divergence develop on some of my indicators. We get another push higher, but then I think we'll get a bigger pullback. Just move this up. You can see again, nailed the bottom here, confirmed the reversal right here, got into the positive portion of the cloud there, and again, nice turn at the top up here. Just looking at shifts in momentum with the circles here. Sometimes it calls major turning points, so which it did at the bottom and it did up here at the top right after the peak. But some absolutely incredible signals. A couple of my candle indicators went bullish during this consolidation or towards the end of it here. Went bullish right there, right after the bottom. Beautiful, beautiful signals. Bars remain blue here. We just had the close for the Wednesday session. We ended up rising, getting a doji or spinning top looking candlestick for the Wednesday session. We were up about 1/4%, getting a candle of indecision. I think it's going to be a continuation higher. We could get a pullback though if we get a defined 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 defined. Regardless, I think you're going to pop above 100,000, and then I think you're going to turn. We had a bearish signal here again for warning of volatility. We got it, but now that's been canceled out. We got a bullish signal here just before we had the rally there on Tuesday. Cloud remains green here. Line remains blue. So bullish things happening. With the new bullish signal, we're likely going to resume and go up and finish minor wave 1. Beautiful topping and bottoming signals here. We didn't get one here, but we got one back over here. Again, the bars turned blue in the consolidation before the break of the downward trend. Again, we've moved 31%, 31.5% off of the lows here. Got those bottoming signals on the 7th and the 9th at the very bottom. You can see that here at Bitcoin's average price and horizontal support, our 50-week moving average, and all the rest of it that I've talked about. Incredible signals here. The bars turned back to green in the consolidation. We broke the trend line, the bull flag, and again, I have two trend lines. This one's for the bull flag. The other one includes the shadows over here, and it's just a little bit higher, connected to this peak here, as I've talked about, and that was the breakout point there. Two trend lines that I was watching, perfectly parallel, bull flag pattern though, which again, I think is a continuation of the trend. Warning signals right here. I talked about this. That's given us this volatility that we've had. Again, still resume the advance and still go higher. We could get something like what we had over here. A little warning, a little bit of volatility, but then still go higher and top out. Absolutely incredible signals. Again, just looking at the momentum shifts here. Again, it called the bottom. Sometimes it turns in momentum. Other times tops and bottoms. The top over here, the top over here. Pretty incredible. Signals absolutely nailing the bottom, and then the flip and the change with momentum, and then the trend signals here turning back to bullish. Beautiful green going on here. I don't think the move's done yet, but I think we'll complete minor wave 1 soon. And here we got the bottoming signals over here. Got a bottoming signal over here. We've come up here, got a warning sign right here, but it's just kind of giving us a little bit of volatility here. It went a little bit higher, and then we've gotten some volatility. We're probably going to push above 100,000 up here, above the band here somewhere. And again, I think between 101, 105,000 somewhere. And then I think you're going to top and get a Fibonacci retracement, back test of the breakout of the double bottom confirmation line. So I think you're going to pop, and then I think you're going to drop back down, get an ABC, and then I think you're going to get an explosive move to come back and take out 109,000. But if we do go higher, I'll be watching for more signals similar to what we had over here and over here, back over here at the peak. Over here I'll be watching to see if we get more signals or signals like what we had at the bottom. But a lot of my signals did a great job of marking the bottom and then the shift in momentum and now the change in the trend signals. Absolutely great signals. Now, again, here, I think that, again, likely to continue and probably go to the upper Bollinger Band up here. That would take us above 100,000. I think you're going to go up and hit that, and I think that'll mark a peak for Bitcoin for the short term. I am bullish, and I do think we'll go higher, but then I think we'll pull back, and then I think you're going to get a parabolic rise in Bitcoin that is going to be absolutely breathtaking. I think it's going to be a spectacular surge on Bitcoin once we get the pullback, the next pullback. Again, look at this great bottoming signal here. We got a warning sign here of some volatility. That was correct. Signals turn back to bullish over here. The bars turn back to green over here. Beautiful signals. Look at this. I mean, absolutely incredible. Knowing the turn over here, the top over here, the sell-off, and then we get the double bottom. Beautiful. Look at that. This chart should be hanging in a museum. Absolutely great signals. But I expect that you're going to see a peak here, and then signals might go back to bearish if we get a pullback for the short term. But I'll be looking for an ABC pullback. But again, Bitcoin's going to go much, much higher. Pullback will be another opportunity. All the people telling us we were going to crash down here, and I told you 74,000 was major support. You take it out, that's extremely bearish. You bounce off of it, that's extremely bullish, and that's exactly what we did. I create my own indicators, so I just want to take the time to show you some of my favorites. I named my indicators because I create so many indicators, hard to keep them all straight, so I named them. This I call the guiding light. I'm looking for that light to show up. I'm looking for the yellow to show up. It should show up probably when we pull back, but I think it's going to be up closer to this level here by the time that happens. I think we get another pump higher above 100,000, and then I think we come back with an A and a B and a C here. I think by the time we do that, we're going to hit this ribbon, and it's going to be flipping to yellow. Maybe it turns yellow before we hit it. Maybe as we hit it, don't even have to pull back all the way to it. Eventually you're going to see that. And again, look at the chart. Look at the candle here, flipped back to green. Look at the bullish signal right here. Again, bearish signal up here, couldn't flip it here. Red bars all the way, reaffirmed the signal here, and then we flipped it here. Absolutely incredible. If you like that kind of information, support the channel with the link directly below. I don't have sponsors. I turn the offers down. They're constantly contacting me. I don't want to send you to an exchange that wants to get you all leveraged up to wipe you out. I don't want to send you to sites that only want to charge you triple commissions. Just ask that you support the channel. Partner with me. Let me know if you like these charts and this information. I mean, these are the charts that I use to make my trading decisions with Bitcoin. My signals are constantly nailing it. It nailed the bottom, nailed the turn, nailed the reversal with the trend signals and the momentum change. Tell me where the top is. That kind of cutting edge information. And consider supporting the channel with the link directly below. You want me to do these videos that you like this information by supporting the channel. A lot of time and effort to do this. If you could take a moment to help out, I would really appreciate that. Thank you for your consideration for that. We saw, again, short-term warning signals of some volatility. We got it. Now signals are trying to flip back to bullish here. We had the impulse line turn back to bearish briefly, now back to bullish. So again, we're still in positive territory. We're likely going to form a larger divergence. This little divergence right here gave us a little bit of volatility. It's probably done. And again, we're going to end up going higher. Same thing with the momentum line. The momentum line turned briefly bearish, right back to bullish here with this rally back up. Balance of power stayed in positive territory. Again, look at the signals. Again, my signals, we got all these bottoming signals down at the bottom, just like we had over here. Bunch of bottoming signals. Then we saw the momentum line turn back to bullish right there. Then we saw the bars turn back to green, and we saw the trend signals turn right after that with the breakout of the downward trend line. But again, great signals. We saw the bottoming signals, the momentum signals turn to bullish, and then the trend signals now bullish. You got the cloud. Again, we're getting above this line right here, which represents the separating of the bulls and bears. It's a 100-period moving average. You're getting above it. Bitcoin will likely go higher and then pull back towards it and, again, drop below it and hit this level right underneath it. And that's what we did the last time when we bottomed out there, got the bottom the last time around. That's exactly what happened. You'll get the higher low, but I think we're going to get that pop above 100,000 here in the coming days. We'll end up seeing the de-escalation, China, and eventually, maybe next week or the week after that, you're going to hear de-escalation day where Trump is going to likely pause the tariffs and formal negotiations will be announced. That's coming. Now here's Bitcoin's daily chart, and again, we're coming up here. We're probably going to come to the 78.6 Fibonacci at the 100,000 area. It's 100,650 or so. Okay, I think you're going to end up overthrowing that level. Maybe you go to 101, 102, 103, up to 105,000. I think you're going to come up here, hit a level above it, and then I think you're going to come back here, and I think you'll get the A and the B and the C to come back here, right there. Maybe we don't reach it. Maybe we go deeper. I doubt that we go deeper. Could if you get a bigger Fibonacci retracement. I think you're going to end up pulling back towards a 100 period moving average, holding above it right now, and I think eventually the 50 is going to get back above that 200 period moving average. Bullish golden cross. I think the death cross has marked the bottom, as we've seen with Bitcoin and the stock market over and over again through this bull cycle. So 78.6 Fibonacci, the 1,650 area, I think you're going to probably blow past that. You may just reach it and turn, but again, I think you got a good chance of going above 100,000. The 78.6 Fibonacci will move slightly above it, the 100,650 area. You probably get something a little bit bigger than that and overthrow the 78.6 Fibonacci, complete our first minor wave high. So I'm going to be looking for something like that. And then, again, to come down, maybe 103, 104,000, 105, maybe a little bit lower at 101 or 102,000, but we'll see how it unfolds. But I think you're going to complete wave one, that pullback for wave two. And then Bitcoin, once we do that, comes up here, we get this pullback, Bitcoin's going to explode higher as we go into the summer months. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a kick in the pants because Bitcoin is going to soar. We make new highs, the bears will finally throw in the towel. And we'll go higher, 50, 160, 170, 175,000, something like that, to my trend line, and then Bitcoin's going to top. So much complacency, the bears will have thrown in the towel, the herd will be, no, Bitcoin's going to go to $1 million 2 weeks from now. And I mean, they'll get crazy and will top, begin to price in the recession. It's eventually going to crash. Not a safe haven from the recession. It will actually perform worse than the stock market, expecting an 80 or 90% drop in Bitcoin once it does peak. And that's what our bear markets have been. They've been 80 to 90%. Long-term candles have turned back to blue with this breakout, and again, back above the 200 period moving average. This is likely suggesting we're going to go make new highs. This is looking at the longer-term trend. Longer-term trend in the weekly time frame. Candles turned back to blue last week. They're still blue this week. And again, chance they're going to stay blue. And if they do, again, we can get, something like what we had here, here, or here. Saw the candles flip back to blue. Over here, after we peaked, look at it, nailed the turn. Bars were consistently red, except for the attempt to flip right here. Failed with the very next bar. Wasn't successful until we came down here and flipped, and it marked the reversal. Absolutely incredible signals. Even with our pullback here in the daily time frame, looking at the swing moves, the shorter term swing moves, not the long term trend right here. Again, still blue. Again, when we pull back, we might see red bars. Once this move is done, not required, but it could happen if we get a bigger pullback. If that happens. I'm looking at the Fibonacci retracements here, and again, I've talked about this in my last update. Here I have it marked from the 103,000 area, and I'm just looking at what would happen if we went up to this area in here, 103, 105, 101, whatever. Where would the Fibonacci's come in? And right now, if we went up to the 103,000 area, the 50% retracement would come in here. This would be this 87,700 area or so. Be very close to our 50 period moving average in the daily time frame, not seen here. But I'll be watching if we come back and back test this area here, or exclude the shadows here and back test it and hit our 50% retracement. If we come up here to the 101, 102, 103, 104, 105,000 area. So I've got the Fibonacci's ready to rock and roll here wherever that peak is, and then I'll be looking at the measurements. I don't know that we go back and get a deeper retracement. We could. If we hit 103,000 or so, we could go back to the 61.8 Fibonacci beyond this level. Beyond this level, the double bottom confirmation line. But I don't know that we do that. We may only see a 50% or 38.2 fib retracement. Deeper would be the 61.8 fib or the 78.6 Fibonacci. Again, here, nailed the sell-off. My candles flipped right here with the breakout. I've had the two trend lines. Again, one is a channel, one is the trend line, including the highs over here. And again, the bars flipped back to blue when we broke out here. And boom, broke through that double bottom confirmation line. Now, the Wednesday session is wrapping up. We're about to start the Thursday session any minute now. We were down, we were up, we're slightly higher now, about 0.25%, back above that 10 period. I think we push on higher, but then I think we'll get a bigger pullback, and I'll be watching the confirmation line right here for our double bottom. We had the double bottom play out very nicely. Again, when everybody down here telling us Bitcoin in the stock market was about to crash with the tariffs, we bottomed, and I told you we were going to get a massive rally back up and move back above the 200 period moving average, the black line right there. That's exactly what happened. We broke the downtrend. We got back above the 50, the green line, then back above the 200. Now the 10 is back above the 20, and the 10 and 20 got back above the 50 period moving average right there. The 50 is a green line, and again, at some point, we're going to pull back to the 50 and the 200 period as they get a golden cross. The 50 will eventually get back above the 200, probably going to get a push up and then a pullback. And then again, if we do pull back, I think this 88,500 area will hold. Maybe we don't pull all the way back to it, but I do think that is likely going to hold. I don't think we're coming down here. It's possible, but I doubt it. But I'm going to be looking for wave 1 to complete and a wave 2. If we get a very deep retracement, then that's still on the table, a back test of the trend line. I think it's more likely you go back to the confirmation breakout level, back towards the 50 period moving average, which again is going to continue to rise towards that area. And I think you end up pulling back to that and then bounce, and you get that golden cross of the 50 and the 200. RSI moved back into positive territory. I told you this with the bullish divergences. We had a multiple point bullish divergence here, and we have again the bullish divergence down here in the MACD. You've got sell off, but then we bounced back up, and again now the stochastic's turning back up. Again, I think we go to new recent highs here, complete minor wave 5, and let me show you that the 4-hour chart. Everything playing out as predicted, as expected. And again, I told you in my last update, I thought we had wave 4 here, thought we'd surge back up. We did. I think you've got here a 5-leg push higher, and again, you're getting a 1, probably a 2 right now, and then I think you're going to get a 3, 4, and 5 here. It's us above 100,000. I think you can go to the 100,000 area, or more likely above it to the 101 to 105,000 area or so, and maybe this trend line right here, and again overthrow the 100,000 area just a little bit, that low to mid 100,000 area, 101 to 105,000, and then I think you're going to come back here, and I think you're going to end up getting an ABC back to this level. So I think you're going to, get this pop, or maybe a little pullback, a little bit bigger pullback, pop up, and I think you're going to complete this move of wave 1 that will eventually give us an ABC move back down. We could go as low as the 88,500 area here. The bigger picture here in the 4-hour time frame for Bitcoin is, again, I think you've got this 5-leg push higher for our first minor wave. I think you get a wave 2, a pullback, and again, that could come back as far as this level. It may be right here for a double bottom confirmation. It may be we fall short of it, or we overthrow it if we try to back test the trend line. I don't know that we go that far, but we could. But I'm going to be looking for a wave 1 to complete, then a wave 2, and then I'll be looking for the wave 3, 5-leg push higher, to exceed the January high. And I think you get 4 and 5. And I think that, again, you can go above 150,000. This scenario would take us up closer towards 170,000 if we drag out, take our time, and this goes on into maybe August or September or something. You're going to get these 5 waves higher, and I've marked it here in blue: 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. And that's what I think is likely under construction right now. And then I think you'll top with Bitcoin, begin to price in the recession. I'm extremely bullish on Bitcoin now. I've been bullish on Bitcoin down in key support at the 200 period and Bitcoin's average price and the 74,000 area and our 50-week moving average. But again, up here, I'm going to get extremely bearish on Bitcoin, and I'm going to flip the trade up there when we hit my trend line. Here it is in the daily time frame. And again, I have this scenario taking us into maybe August here, or could drag out into September. But again, this is what I think is happening here in the daily time frame. Again, I think we've completed intermediate wave 4 here. I think we're going to get intermediate wave 5, and that's going to unfold in this 5 wave push higher, 5 minor waves higher to complete this 5 with the circled blue, completing primary wave 5, the whole thing, 3, 4, and 5. The intermediate waves 3, 4, and 5 that you see here on the chart goes back to the first wave, complete primary wave 5, and completes the cycle top. Here it is on the weekly chart. Again, this channel, here's primary wave 4. This whole thing is primary wave 5, again in blue. The red count is the intermediate wave 5, and I think intermediate wave 4 completed. So that's what I think is going on. And again, everything's playing out according to plan. This count is going to play out. Here, when we hit the upper channel line, again, I'm going to get extremely bearish on Bitcoin, and I think it's going to collapse in the recession. Hearing people talk about, the people that told us we're not going to have a recession are now saying we're going to have a recession. And some people are saying, oh, you got to pile into Bitcoin. It's recession proof. Poppycock. Bitcoin is going to crash just like the stock market once we begin to price in the recession. But we're going to see both of them in all likelihood move to new highs. At least that's my opinion. We're going to complete the blow off top first. And as economy is falling apart because of the tariffs, they're trying to inject liquidity. Just had announced, told you, their manufacturing is collapsing. Exports to the United States have fallen off a cliff. Ships going into the United States have been greatly reduced. Got civil unrest over there right now, losing their jobs, not being paid. Got protests everywhere. It's hard to find the stories in the media here in the U.S. That's what's going on there. And so again, now has agreed to the U.S. this weekend. Correctly predicted would happen. I was told there was no way that was going to happen. I was severely attacked for even suggesting it on my social media post. I was proven correct. The Treasury Secretary and the U.S. Trade Representative are going to meet with their counterparts this weekend in Switzerland. It will likely lead to de-escalation. Actually, at some point, in all likelihood next week, we will see de-escalation day. It takes a week or two, but we're going to see it happen. As the economy is collapsing right now, we're on the verge of losing about 16 million jobs. In the financial crisis, the United States lost about 18 or 19 million jobs. We're going to lose it very quickly if they don't. And that's why, again, people have continued to tell me it doesn't need the United States, and all these people that are completely oblivious to, again, economics. Either China goes to the negotiating table or the economy collapses. I've now been proven correct on this. And again, I continue to point out the media. We're going to have the tariffs. I told you they were going to end up getting paused. I was right. Trump paused them on the day of the launch on April 9th. We were told that wasn't going to happen. We were told that we were going to have retaliatory tariffs. Those were delayed because Trump paused the tariffs. We don't have that. We were told we were going to have this big reciprocal tariff trade war. It didn't happen. I told you it wouldn't. They told us that we were going to the tariffs and that's it. It's over. I told you, no, we're going to have negotiations. And they told us, no, not going to happen. Yet we see all these countries line up to negotiate. They told us, okay, China's not coming to the trading table. These tariffs are going to collapse the economy and going into the next Great Depression 2.0. Again, everything the media has said, and I've been right. Now China is meeting with the United States. They are under pressure. The Communist Party leadership is under pressure. A lot of civil unrest going on over there right now. It's only going to get worse if they continue to play games with the United States. trying to save face. Oh, the United States, they're begging us to come to the negotiating table. I was asked today if he'd lower the tariffs before they would come, and he said no. But there's a mutual agreement. China's trying to save face. Their economy's collapsing right before their eyes. You listen to the media, it's the U.S. economy that's collapsing, which, again, absolutely incredible. Everything the media has said, the opposite has happened. I told you now, has happened. Again, this is good news and exactly what I predicted. They're going to have the talks for de-escalation here, and then eventually, this is not going to be the trade talks. That comes later. This is going to be about de-escalating the trade tensions. This is the Bitcoin futures, and again, I want to continue to point out, I told you I thought we'd firm back up here and bounce off support levels for Bitcoin and end up getting the green bars with the oscillator, the MACD firming back up. This is Bitcoin futures. Mind you, again, I think you're going to end up seeing a larger divergence forming on into the summer months. And again, see it by July, we could drag it out into August or September on into the fall. But I think you're going to see this massive divergence. This divergence gave us this sell-off. This is suggesting that the highs are not in. The top has not yet happened. We're going to go to new highs above 109,000. Stochastic recycling back up. Again, it was a divergence over here that eventually led to the MACD rolling over and turning down, firmly up now, though, at the center line. Negative divergence on the histogram right here for the MACD as well. A little hard to see, but again, divergences did play out, and we bounced off support.